What's up, guys? Dave here at the blind spot again. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm sorry for the absence the last couple weeks, but I'll give you an update on the podcast that's going to be previous to this one. But I'm super excited to have somebody I consider a good friend. I got to meet him a couple years back, and being a Cali boy, he's only a couple hours away from me. I want to introduce Derek Stafford from. Where are you from, buddy?
San Luis Obispo. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on, Dave. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Derek. Derek has a limousine company like ours in the Central Coast, San Luis Obispo area. Great vehicle, great company. He's strong-minded, knows the business really well, and I'm excited to have him because we're going to talk a lot about. We're going to talk a little bit about the limo industry, but a lot about just personal growth and the struggles that everybody's kind of having in COVID. And, I'm going to let Derek do an introduction about himself, and then we'll kind of just dive into the questions. So, Derek, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. So, Derek Stafford, San Luis Obispo, California. I'm the owner of Elegant Image Limousine. I purchased it back in 2014. A little bit about myself. I'm a former professional BMX athlete. I didn't compete on the Olympic level, but was a step below the A Pro division. Did that for a while, retired from that, jumped into the limo industry back in 2013 and into 2014 when I purchased it. Started out with just 2 cars and built it into a fleet of 12 before we hit this, whatever you want to call going on in the world right now.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy, huh?
Very crazy. It's been a year of roller coaster up and down. I mean, you can't even predict anything anymore, what's going to happen. It just depends on what's going to go on with the news and whatever our wonderful governor is going to make us believe today.
Yeah. Well, we can get into our political opinions, but I try to keep that to the side.
Yeah, we'll keep that out there for sure.
We'll keep it. So what got you into the limo business? Why the limo business?
Tell you the truth, I was going to Cal Poly back in 2005. I was working just a kind of a dead-end delivery job. Was tired of lifting shit all day, and I wanted to do something that was going to be, lack of better words, just a little bit more chill, and I can have some fun with. I saw a limo drive down the road, and that's what got me initially hooked into it at first. Saw the traditional 120 stretch moving down the freeway, saw a guy in a suit, a bunch of girls in the back hanging out, and I said, this isn't a bad gig. I think I'm going to sign myself up for it. So I had a buddy in 2006. We purchased our first limo. It was an excursion, and just basically ran it the first 2 years just off of fraternity and sorority events. No real marketing, no real plan. It was more of just a joke, just to have some fun. And right. That's initially how I got started in it.
Awesome. And so you said you started back in 2014, started your own company. You
started my own company in 2014.
Okay. And what did you have when you first started?
When I first started, I had 2 Crystal 120 stretches, white, and I had, I believe it was an 06 or an 05 El Dorado homemade Home Depot party bus. I call it Home Depot because it looked like that on the inside.
Yeah,
definitely
really.
Not as nice as this one I'm in right now, this Gretsch. But
what year is the one you're in right now?
Right now, this is a 2017 Gretsch. This is my limo Sprinter I'm in. So I'm actually on the road today traveling, helping a buddy move. And I took this car here, and where I'm at right now with time, this is where I'm at. This is where we're filming and shooting the podcast. So awesome. On the fly, I like it.
We got to do it. So let's kind of get into the nitty gritty.
Absolutely.
We've talked a lot over the period of just the mental, the frustration we all have as owners, business owners, and
right.
How COVID has affected you mentally.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit, and then we'll get into the other stuff too?
Yeah, absolutely. Jumping into the whole COVID thing, for myself, I've actually found out working with my counselor, which I'll, talk in more here a little bit later on, but this started before the COVID for me. COVID is what brought it to light for me. going in with the working of the business of the high demand of how this is the day-to-day, that what it requires from dispatch, from reservations, to this business will suck you in and it'll spit you out and it won't even think twice about it. So I found myself in a freaking whirlwind. Walls were building up behind me. You wouldn't know it. Anyone wouldn't know on the street. Heck, my own wife didn't even know I was even struggling with it. It's just something that came in and got me. And coming through the whole COVID thing, it brought it to light in myself, where I found myself in a depression, where I was on the couch for almost 3 weeks. Didn't want to get up, didn't want to do anything, didn't want to talk to anybody. Just wanted to lay there. Didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go on there. And it took some pretty drastic changes in my life, personally, business wise, just to even get me to a spot where I am today, where I can even talk about it, openly with you on this podcast.
Right. And, obviously, personally, I go through PTSD, and obviously with this stupid COVID, it just added more depression, more anxiety, because the day-to-day unknown of, what happens to our business,
Right.
We've been working so hard to build this stuff up, and look what happens.
Absolutely. Coming off that, we did a record year in 2019. We're up, 30-40%. Our January and February, we were up in January. I think we were at 75. We were 100% up in February.
Wow.
We all went to, the show, went to the 10X event, probably one of the best all-time highs we've ever came off of. And then
Yep.
coming back into reality, it was like getting hit with a baseball bat, just getting hit over and over and over again. And you didn't know where it was coming from.
Right. When did you start seeing it pretty much right away in March, that things were going down, or did you have a little bit more time of profit?
So we had a little bit more time of profit. When I came back, our first 2 weeks were okay. We started getting the calls and the conversation about what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We had a big wine festival weekend that was scheduled for the third week. That pretty much makes our March revenue with it. Where we're farming cars out from all over, doing events, shuttle events, winery events, everything going on that whole entire week. They canceled that on Wednesday, and that's when the ship started to sink with us. Just alone from that Wednesday to Saturday, we had $125,000 in cancellations that just hit just like that. And it just continued and continued and continued, where, I didn't even want to pick up the phone anymore. I just started letting things go to voicemail, because I knew what it was already. It wasn't for a reservation. It was for cancellations.
At what point did you realize that you were going bad personally? Not forget about the other stuff we're going to talk about, but just
absolutely. I started noticing myself in April. I started noticing myself right in the beginning of April that I was going down the wrong way path, and I didn't know how to get off the ship. I was sinking fast myself, I found myself into a deep depression. It came into a point where middle of April, where I was ready to kill myself. And that's talking openly about it right now. I haven't told very many people on that, but I was ready to take my own life, just because I could not figure out anything, how to get off the ship. I was too embarrassed to ask for help, couldn't reach out to family or anything like that. And, by the grace of God, he helped me that night, steered me off of it. And, I started reaching out with some friends, and was able to start the path I'm on today.
Well, first off, obviously I'm a little speechless, just because I don't know how to react to such an honest and truthful statement, especially that you're expressing it in kind of an open platform. So first off, I want to thank you, because
you're welcome.
I'm 100% sure you're not the only one. I can't say I ever felt that deeply, but I know there was times where I just didn't know what to do. Right. And it was like I wanted to run away. because then if I ran away, I didn't have to deal with it. I'm thankful that you found whatever tools you needed to get past that day and that evening. And so that's amazing. And I think that you being honest about what you were is an important reason why I wanted to do this podcast with you, because our friendship, I wouldn't say that we talk to each other every day or every month even, but every time we do talk, it's pretty candidly, and we trust each other, and there's no ever doubt. And so I'm kind of like, I guess I'm kind of walking in circles right now, just thinking about what you're saying. So if you don't mind, take me back to that day, because obviously you're in a way better place right now, for sure.
Right. No, I'm definitely in a way better place. Thank you. Thankful, for my, my small circle of friends, for my counselor, which I'll get into later on it here. But, walking back into that night, I came home from work, and my wife and I had a disagreement, and we started just talking. And next thing you know, I started seeing myself spiral, into it. And our discussion ended up getting worse and heated. She went to bed. I laid down in bed, and I got up, and I just did not feel right. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm pushing everyone away in my life to a point where I'm just keeping them away. I'm not opening up. I'm not being real with them in life. And, I went downstairs, and I sat down there and was ready to go behind the train tracks where I live at my house, and was ready to just take my own life that night and just do something completely selfish. Is what is, looking at it now, because that's not the answer to anything on there. I had a really good, I have a really good friend. Her dad committed suicide, a couple months ago. And, we talked a little bit about it, and, just seeing the aftermath of what, that causes, of how the family is affected. It's long lasting, over it. And to me, I just couldn't do something that selfish. So I'm glad that I was able to wake up from that, and, be able to start to reach out for help. How embarrassing, it is, whatever the case it was, but I was glad I was able to do that.
Yeah, I can tell you that, like I said, I wasn't at that level, but I remember when I got diagnosed with PTSD, I felt like everybody could see it on my head. Like nobody knew. The only person that knew was me and my family. But I always thought I was walking around with a hat on that said PTSD. And it was kind of one of those things that just always held me back until finally I got the right help, got the right support, and realized that, okay, it's not that big of a deal. It's something to deal with. Depression, everybody has different forms of depression, whether they want to admit to it or not. Were you ever in a place, did you have any addiction problems or anything like that? I mean, at any point in your life, or to even now?
Me personally, I do not struggle with addiction problems. I was raised into a family with addiction problems. My mom, falls under the opioids. My dad was an alcoholic. So it runs in my family as far as addiction goes and all that. But no, I've never struggled with drugs. I've never struggled with alcohol. Any of that stuff there. That stuff honestly just really doesn't interest me. It's really crazy, and just kind of blows me away how both my parents struggle with that and still struggle to that, to this day. And me, I don't have a problem with it at all. Not one bit.
Is your parents in town also in San Luis Obispo?
No, my mom is actually somewhere on the East Coast. We haven't spoken to in quite some time due to her addiction. And my dad, same with same thing. I think the last time I spoke with him was when I was 21 for it. So it's, it's been a while on there, but getting into that side of it there. The addiction was greater than the relationship, that we had. And that's the problem with addiction. Addiction's always going to outweigh the relationship. And, the person that is struggling with the addiction has to hit the rock bottom before they can move forward in their life to even remotely begin to have relationships with people.
Yeah. I mean, am very lucky that I personally didn't have to deal with that growing up. We actually grew up in a very dry family. My parents were definitely not into any type of alcohol or anything like that. So I really didn't understand it. Surprisingly, I do enjoy drinking. I would say that I'm a weekend drinker for sure, but this kind of leads into kind of our next topic, and I not really sure how to bring it up, and like I don't want it's something that you're dealing with right now, and if you want to kind of just talk about it, let's go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and bring it up. Go ahead and ask the question. Let's do it.
All right. Well,
fire it.
I was able to talk to Derek this weekend, kind of in a deep conversation, because unfortunately he's dealing with somebody in his life that has an addiction problem. I'll let him talk about the story, but somebody very close to him has an opioid problem. And instead of him giving up, he really grabbed, life by the horns and said, okay, I'm going to find a solution. Unfortunately, it didn't work out as he planned. But Derek, if you want to talk about it, can you give a little bit of preface to what we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I'm not going to name names or name anything on the side of where it is, but I have someone very close and dear to my heart that is struggling, with an opioid addiction, cocaine addiction. And, I found all that out, during the whole, pandemic on there. One of my closest friends, growing up is actually a speaker that goes and travels around the world, speaking on addiction on there. I reached out to him, and he came out, and we started the process and found out exactly what was going on it, and did the intervention, set the family member into a treatment facility to help to give the person another shot at life. Anyone that's close to me knows that, once you're in my circle, once you're in my heart, you're in my heart. It's not going to matter whether you're struggling in life, what you have going on, even what you said or what you done to me, in the past. That all doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be there first and foremost as a friend, to help anybody out that they need for it. And, I saw the cry for help, and even though this person wasn't asking for it, I saw it and said, hey, we got to get treatment. And against my counsel, against better advice, it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't the right timing for it, but I just couldn't let this person spiral anymore on there. So we did it, and I'd like to say hopefully this person is in a better place and is moving forward in life for addiction-free life.
What do you think you learned from it?
What I've learned from it is more or less is just the addiction is, I learned a ton. I've probably studied the last 2.5 months just on addiction, just on the personalities, just on the behavior traits, just even the whys on there. And from what I found, it always stems deeper, and it stems from, the self-esteem, growing up, issues in life when, we were kids, and it just gets moved forward into the teen years, into the adult life, and things just never really get addressed. And it just takes something to spark it. And, next thing you know, if you've done something in the past and you're going down that road, for it also too, having counselors and doctors that are, prescribing stuff that, they shouldn't be prescribing. The common answer to, America is, here, let's take this pill, this is going to fix you. Go ahead and take this. This is going to fix you. That's not fixing anything. The only way to fix stuff is to be in counseling, to talk through it, to work through it, to reach out to family members, and really dive deep into the actual root problem. And, that's going to help you in the long run. I could have easily slipped in it myself, going into a drug addiction myself with everything going on this year. I could have easily done that. But I knew that wasn't the answer. I knew I had to dig deep and do the hard work, even though I didn't want to. And that's showing up for yourself each and every day when no one else is going to show up for you.
Right. And I think it does kind of make you realize that, a lot of people want to, say addiction is not a medical issue. It's 100% a medical issue. I
Absolutely.
mean, nobody, I don't think anybody can say they want to be addicted to drugs, even though in their mind, during the time when they are addicted, that's easy to say. Obviously, we know that.
Right.
But I think that the big issue is, how do you manage that along with you having to deal with COVID-19 and you trying to figure out, how do I pivot myself? And on top of that, this same person caused some more financial distress to you, which we don't need to talk about that part. But, the cost of rehab is not cheap. I mean, we know that.
No,
So,
definitely not cheap.
and the fact that you took
Definitely
that burden on you shows what kind of man you are. But, how do you keep yourself from going down that route?
Well, keeping myself grounded and keeping myself from going down that route is, going back to, it's almost going back to my roots. Back when I was going through this and talking with my counselor, his name is Dr. Jason Richardson. Very great guy out of San Diego. If you ever need any help with anything, I totally recommend reaching out to him. He
Awesome.
helps your mindset think differently, and he gets you to dive deep into the actual root problems for it. So I reached out to him, and we were discussing points in my life of where I was the happiest, where I was the most content in life, and that was going back into back when I was racing. I had so much discipline going on, from getting up in the morning and training, believing I was going to be a top level athlete, going through the course of the day, proper nutrition, proper rest. That's basically what I did. I had to get myself back into that mindset of being an athlete again, to where I can go in before I can start attacking the other portions of the day. So I get up in the morning. I usually wake up without an alarm clock between 5:30 and 6 now. You asked me that a year ago. I wouldn't be able to get out of bed without my wife bringing me a cup of coffee. That's how bad I was in, staying up late, work until wee hours in the morning. I wake up now on my own. I get up and I put my AirPods in. I either listen to a podcast myself, listen to music, catch up with family, and I go out and I walk and jog for, in the morning, or I'll hop on my bike for at least 45 minutes to an hour. And that's what I do. The first thing I do in my day is I do something for myself before I do anything else for anybody else, before I touch an email, for a phone call at all. I make sure I put time in for myself. I show up for myself, and then I start going on the day.
Right. And that's good. And how often are you seeing, or, obviously during these times, how often are you chatting with your therapist?
So we were on doing twice a week. We're now down to once every other week is what we're doing now, just because the progression's there. I built my toolkit, as I like to call it, on how to be aware with things, and just be at a peace right now in life with what's going on. Stuff's getting thrown daily, constantly at me still, and I can almost say like I have a piece, at it now, where I know that I have a good toolkit. I know I have a good, circle of friends that can help me if I need to lean on for it. And, I'm able to see the bigger picture, even in a dark place.
That's great. And you should be really proud of yourself, because like you said, it's really easy to give up and, walk away from everything and to say, fuck it, but you didn't. You stood your ground, and you helped your loved one. And I hope and pray that this person finds peace in their own process, and be able to come back around and live the life that person wants. And I mean, unfortunately, I've known when I was a cop, I ran into a lot of people who had addiction problems that were really good people, but the problem really took grasp of them. And so I can't imagine what you're going through, but it sounds like you are finding your ways through it, and that's really good. So let's talk, like we talked about that stuff, which is kind of cool. And we really appreciate you opening up. But going back to business, I mean, I've kind of known you've gone to a few of Bill Faith's retreats,
Yes.
kind of everything. So can we talk about that? I know this weekend you were at his first one that he had this year after, first time traveling. So tell me how that was. What did you learn? What did you feel like? Where were you? Obviously with everything else that's going on in your life. So
Right.
how did that help? How did it not help? Not saying content wise if it helped or not, but like just overall being away from your home.
Right. So I'm getting into Bill Faith. I've attended pretty much majority of his events that he's put on over the years. I met him, I believe it was 2017 or 2016. I can't remember. It seems like a lifetime ago with it. But I was at a point in my business career where I found myself where I felt like I was stuck. And I mean, I felt like I was stuck. I felt like I was just going through the same patterns, the same motions, day in and day out, but not getting a different result on there. So I wanted to try something different. So I went to one of his first boot camps. Was in Nashville. It was almost a test event, is what he called it. There were 15 operators from us, or from 15 operators from all over the United States that came, and it was probably the most hellhole setup I've ever seen of just diving deep into stuff. I mean, I was so exhausted, had so much information thrown at me where when I left on day one, my brain hurt so bad I couldn't even do anything the rest of the night. I was just it was like you're cramming for a college exam and
Right.
you could not retain the information anymore. So it was a lot thrown at me, but I took the information that I had and started breaking it down into, different smaller, pieces and stuff. And, we ended up doing, I believe it was in 2017, we had about a $400,000 spike in sales, which I contribute to, attending these events, just thinking differently. The whole thing in this, on the business side, we all get into that same mindset, but we have to think outside the box. We have to be inventive. We can't be relying on the affiliates to give us the works, the Bostons, the Empires, the Commonwealths. You have to build your own damn business to be able to make it in this world. And
Right.
especially right now, it's showing. It's definitely showing who's busy, who's moving the wheels and all that. So, getting into the event this year, I flew out to Scottsdale, Arizona. We had an Airbnb set up there, and we just went in and just started just trying to dive in and just dissect to see where everybody was in the group. We're all in different, places in there. Billy from Arizona was out there, KJ Carter from Indianapolis, Chad Peterson in there as well. Kevin out of LA was there, a bunch of us there, Sam Rubin. And we went in there and just started dissecting to see where we're at and started, essentially building plans, getting together, building the business plan of what, we're envisioning our business to be coming back, in the rest of 2020, 2021,
Right.
for it. So for myself, I wasn't more or less going in there to try and build the plan. I was going in there to get myself back in the business mindset. I told Bill, moving forward into it there, I said, I haven't had my head in business really in about 5 to 6 months. I haven't
Right.
even really thought about it. The pre-COVID stuff, going on personal issues with my own life. I just didn't care.
Right.
And that's being generally honest. I just did not care to even put forth in there because I realized you have to have yourself in a right mindset first before you can go in and try to remotely implement stuff in business
Right.
on there. If you're not mentally sound in your life and be able to move stuff, you're not going to be able to do a good job, and you're going to find yourself, spinning, and it's not worth it.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I think that the collective that you had there, it's pretty impressive because, I know Sam, I know everybody you brought up, and they're all from different kind of businesses.
Right.
I would say Sam and Kevin and Billy are more corporate, airports, that kind of stuff. I think Ken's more, did I lose you? Or are you there? I think we lost Derek.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. I think the camera went out, but can you hear me?
Hang on. Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, hang on. I don't know what happened here. My phone just took a shit.
Hey,
Here we go. Can you hear me?
I can
Okay,
hear you.
as long as you can hear me, we're good. We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, totally. So, back to what I was saying is having everybody from such a diverse, business, you're probably able to, hear what's happening right now in the industry where retail business is the key. Are you feeling the same way? Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, we've always been, a primary retail business on it. I started getting into the corporate stuff into 2017 and into 2018, but our main focus has always been, the retail work with doing wine tours and weddings. I've never really focused in on the airport business. The margins are just so little, in that, and the retail business, and that's the retail business is what's moving right now. People are tired of being stuck in their homes. They're tired of being trapped. They want to get out. They want to do things,
Right.
for it. So that's what the work is right now. You know.
Are you seeing, I mean, you have pretty much all kind of party buses and some executive buses, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So I have majority of party style buses. I have executive style mini as well, and then of course we're running the Gretsch sprinters, all limo style
Right.
on there. And honestly, the sprinters have been the biggest during this time, just because of what we're limited to by the restrictions of where we're at, what we can run.
Right.
The buses are really just sitting. So our sprinters are the ones that are constantly moving for the groups of 6 or the groups of 8s going wine tasting and all that. So, and it's been good. It's been really good.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely not a retail business. Obviously before we got on here, I was talking to you about how I was kind of looking into, maybe finding a used limo sprinter or something like that because of just what we see here. We don't, we're not seeing people flying in. We're definitely not seeing, anything to write home about, and that's been a
Right.
little tough. And so we've tried to diversify. I think all of us here in California and kind of probably the Western states are still trying to reopen. We're not at a point where we're
Right.
reopening yet. And so, I'm not seeing, a big influx of calls for going up to the wine country yet. And that's where it's like, okay, do I go jump into something with not getting the phone calls yet? Obviously once you have a product, you start pushing that product, but it's also one of those things where will that product move now, or do I wait a month or two until things start to reopen? So, I mean, that's kind of looking for your advice and see what your thought process is.
Yeah, so my thought process, on that, I'm going to just flip it right back into the corporate side. I was, pretty much, 2017, 16 and back, even, 2018, all I had was, party style vehicles or, SUVs. I didn't have any corporate stuff. So what did I do? I reached out to some local affiliates that I had that that I knew that had a decent equipment or that had something decent in there, and we'd work together, and I would put the stuff up on my website, and I started practicing just selling it. And I struck out quite a bit at first because I was shooting for the fence, shooting too high in pricing on there, but I went in there and just tested it and just taught myself what the demands were for it. And pretty soon, once I started getting it going, I would farm out, I was farming out trips probably pretty much weekly, a couple times a week into some corporate stuff or, some shuttles and stuff. And it pretty much came to a point where I felt confident in enough by, purchasing a vehicle that I was going to be able to sustain it. And in, 2019, obviously, that was the case. I was able to sustain it and then some,
Right.
for it. So it's more or less just getting out of your comfort zone, thinking outside the box, like I said earlier, and, finding a way for it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely am going to push to see where we can take this. I think I'm probably going to wait about a month
Right.
to make any moves because like I said, we're not really open yet. And it's kind of one of those things where we're still trying to figure out what's going to happen. because we never know. We still have November 4th to come around, and everything could change there.
Yes.
Whatever day it is. I'm not even keeping track anymore. But I don't know. I keep baffling myself, but that's kind of also why I pivoted myself and went the different direction, which is the Amazon service partner, which I'm going to talk about in a different podcast for people. But Derek, I don't want to hold you up. I know you're helping a friend move.
Lost you, Dave.
Can you hear me? You there?
Lost the volume. Hang on. Let me see.
Okay. I could hear you. Are you there, buddy? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I could hear you. Can you hear me? We're having some technical.
Volume just went. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. Can you hear me, Derek? Here, let's see if we could get him to log off and log back on. Okay, yeah, he just logged off. Let's see if he'll log back on. Sorry, guys, we're having some technical issues. I forgot to mention to him that maybe being in one place would be helpful, but he'll be back on. And I mean, just to kind of chime in on my thoughts, Derek definitely opened up to a lot of things that he's been going through, and he deserves a lot of credit for being able to go through this and still be able to talk about it. These times have been very hard for a lot of people, and I keep going back to we need to support each other through these times. And it sounds like he had a close core of people that were willing to help him. And, him being candid about what he went through is, fucking phenomenal. There's so much, he's got so much strength. And then hold on, he's back. We got him back. There he is.
There we go. We're good. I don't know what happened. I just had to close out and completely redo it again. So I'm glad we got video and audio again. So sorry about that.
Not at worries. I was actually just giving you a lot of kudos that you could listen to when you listen to the podcast. I was just saying that I think that your story is not like anybody else's. It's not. It's yours, but people could relate to it. And the fact that you were so candid and open about it, I hope people will take from this that to reach out to people that care, to help you through the struggling times, because it's never easy. Nothing's easy. We know that. And, to wrap up this conversation, what are some things that you feel like you can tell people who are kind of going through what you are to keep their head up? Like, what do you think? Can you give your last thoughts?
Yeah. So my kind of wrapping up, my final thoughts, I would say people that are going through stuff, even similar or know someone that's going through stuff in this, is always just remember to keep your head up, and, always remember to reach out to positive people in your life. There are people that come in your life and there are people that go in your life, but always remember to go to someone in your life that is there, that's a true friend, that's going to be there for you no matter what, that's not going to judge you on what color shoes you're wearing, what color hat you have, what kind of car you drive, whatever the case may be, how much money you have in the bank, all that bullshit doesn't matter. Someone that's going to genuinely care for you, and don't be afraid to reach out for help. That's the number one thing. You cannot find yourself where the walls are closing in, because you're going to find yourself in a situation like I did. And, honestly, it's not a pretty thing to be in at all.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. And having a good therapist, having a good core of people that you can keep close, and that you can feel like you can get a positive support system, that's important. Derek, I want to thank you so much for coming on here with us. It takes a lot of courage to talk about what you've been through. You definitely came out the other side better.
Yes.
I could see it, I could hear it, and I hope that you continue your path. And I truly believe that we're all going to take from this COVID situation for our business and realize what not to do, and how to slim down and, get a little bit less stress off of our backs so that we don't have to go through it all over again.
Exactly.
So thank you, Derek. I wish you the best. I know we'll be chatting soon. And for everybody who is listening, we're going to put some links to some support groups that we know of for you to connect with. Derek, how do people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, give me a call. You can drop my cell phone in there. Have no problem talking to, anybody at all that has questions or even just struggling, through it. I hope this podcast can help someone out that's struggling, in life, that's, in our industry, or even, not in our industry, just someone that's struggling. I want to be able to help in any way I can.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, Derek, and we'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Peace, guys.
See you, buddy.